Hey, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for another segment of the Jane Irrigation Training Series. I'm Richard Restuccia, Vice President of Water Management Solutions for Jane, and also the host of this segment. And today I'm really excited because we do have a large focus on water conservation, and as we heard time and time again, most recently from Charles Fishman when he was on a few months ago, really get water conservation going, you need some ways to fund growers to support them trying some new things in technology to save water and streamline their processes. And so last week, when the State Water Efficiency and Enhancement Program, SWEEP, announced that they were putting out availability for $40 million that growers can apply for between now and the end of December, I thought, man, this is just the shot in the arm our industry needs right now to get even more serious about water conservation. So one of the things I know, though, in the past, and I've written a little bit about sweeps dollars and read a lot, and people find the process a little cumbersome, maybe. And so what we're doing today is we've got a couple of real professionals that have acquired sweeps dollars in the past, who are going to help all of you figure out how to make this process a little bit more less cumbersome and streamline the process. And most importantly, both Dave and Mike have said, man, if somebody needs some help, just have them call me. I'll walk them through the process. So anytime I hear that, I get really excited to get that type of help. So Mike Wandzell is actually works for Agri-Valley Irrigation. He's been there since September of 2020. Fresno State grad, and has really grown up in agriculture in the Central Valley. So happy to have him on the team. And he's really immersed himself in this acquisition of sweeps funding and has for a while. And he can be an intricate part of your team in gathering that money. And then we have Dave Lindsey as well. And Dave's been around Jane and Agri-Valley for a long time too. He's our technical sales and product manager for our Jane monitoring and control products. If you've had Dave on a job or you understand Dave's commitment to quality and detail, you'll see why I'm excited to have him on the show today as well. So Mike and Dave, thank you, welcome. And gee, Mike, how's it going out there? Are people excited about this new money, or are people still learning that it's available?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think, as I've been going out in the fields, probably since the spring, telling people that there's, another round of sweep coming ahead and trying to explain what that is for them. They've kind of been excited to keep me in the loop, tell me what's going on. We've been spreading the news in our stores around the valley, and I've been getting phone calls about them, having people wanting to know more about it. And so it's been good. I've been able to, share this link for this talk today to some people. That way they can kind of understand the depth of this program and how it can really benefit a lot of growers out there.
Yeah, so Mike, one thing I was thinking about is that sweep money is actually a grant. Grower doesn't have to pay it back. It's if he gets it, if he gets the grant, it's his money.
Yeah, so it's a grant for a maximum of $100,000 per agricultural operation. And the other thing about it, it's a competitive grant. You have to apply between October and December, then it goes through a review, and it's not this, first come, first serve type of grant. It's you fill out all this paperwork, which we'll show about, and then, based on the review, it's how you get awarded or not awarded.
Yeah, and Mike, I don't want to steal your thunder of your presentation, but I was looking at past grants, and man, I see maybe the majority of people switching from flood irrigation or some other inefficient way of irrigating to micro or drip irrigation. And this seems to be the majority of the funding, and this is where the money is going. Is that correct?
That's correct. I mean, a lot of it is looked at water savings and greenhouse gas savings. And so if you have that ability to do both on your field and really become more efficient on how you water your field, whether it's a row crop or trees, then and you're really committed to doing that, you have a really good chance of of being a SWEEP grant user and using that and utilizing it in your field.
Right. And if I wanted to use some technology like soil moisture sensing, Jane Logic software, these types of things are all part of the program too.
Yes.
And really the technology products that they're trying to support.
Yeah, that's part of the requirement. So it's really good to have the added tools, added to this grant to really make you more of an advanced farmer whenever you're trying to get your crops, and use water efficiently.
Yeah. Hey, Dave Lindsey, in the past, you've seen some people apply, you've seen some other people not apply or just say, oh, I'm not doing that. What have been some of the reasons why they haven't wanted to participate?
Most of the time, it's the task of filling out the applications. We've used grant writers in the past, Observant in the past, actually had one on staff. We at Agri Valley, before I moved over to Jane, we actually hired an outside grant writer. But this is nothing that the grower can't do himself, especially when we offer everything they need as far as designs and so on and so forth.
Yeah, and I don't want to have anybody intimidated by that word grant writer, right? I always think that as somebody very specialized and high paid. And really, I looked at some of the applications that won awards and were awarded money, and they're some simple paragraphs. So I don't want anyone to be intimidated by that. So
yeah.
Anyway, well, Mike, we're excited to see what you have for us today.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll share the screen now, but it's basically what I'm going to go over is kind of the SWEEP grant process of all of this, and just the things you need to fill out, the things you need to know about what you need to have prepared as you go into this process. So basically, let's see how it works here for you. So we've got SWEEP, State Water Efficiency and Enhancement Program. Started in 2014, had over 800 projects awarded so far in the 6 years that it's been implemented. This year, they're going to have $40 million to allocate, and its purpose is to save water and energy use and greenhouse emissions. And the one thing about this $40 million that they allotted this year, it was specifically given this much money because of the drought that we're in. And so I think my opinion is that if you may not have a lot of greenhouse gas savings with your pumps and your efficiencies with that, but if you can save a lot of water, you might have a better ability with the emphasis of the drought to maybe get a better chance of getting the grant money with that. Some of the water savings that you can do, I mean, switching to micro irrigation, drip, tape systems. As far as the greenhouse gas side, switching from a diesel pump to electric or even propane, that's covered under the SWEEP program as well. If you want to do an all propane system, there's propane pumps out there, and you can do that as well, and they cover that as in that switch as well. Also installing a VFD, SWEEP likes to have that whenever they're looking into it. We've done a lot of VFDs that have been done through the SWEEP program, and also improving your energy efficiency and reducing pumping, which also includes to, you're reducing energy through your pumping. Now, to go through the first part of it, the restrictions. There are restrictions for these type of programs. This is basically it. You can't do new acreage that was something else and you're going to make it into farmland. You can't put in a new well, and have them bore it and increase the well depth, but you can, just to let you know, to clarify the difference, you can do a pump upgrade, like increase your pump size, or you can make your pump more efficient, or do something with that, but you can't just install a new well. So that's one of the things that you have to think about, and especially on the greenhouse gas side. is, I'm going to increase my well. How am I going to change that and make it more efficient? So they have a couple ways of doing that. No experimental technology. No company comes out and says, hey, we got this. Can we try it out with you? You can't do it through there. Can't do any research. Nothing can be leased. Everything has to be bought. So if you have soil monitoring or anything like that, you got to buy it through the grant program and keep it. So if it has a subscription, anything after that's 18 months of the SWEEP program being put together, you would have to keep the subscription going through that. And also no tools or equipment with less than a lifespan of 2 years. The SWEEP program is meant to stay for about 10 years. That's what they're hoping the lifespan is of that farm, of what you get funded for. So 2 years, they put the squash on that right away.
Yeah. Mike, those 5 restrictions there, they're pretty workable, right?
Extremely.
Yeah, I would say there's nothing there that really scares me or worries me. I get why they want to do all 5 of those.
Yeah, and it's to get the, somebody that wants the quick money to install something and then maybe turn around and sell it, or maybe do something, kind of really puts that limit on them. That way it's for the serious farmer out there that really wants to make a difference in their community and make a difference with their yields and the reduction of water, since that's a big thing with SGMA.
Yeah. And I want to let everybody know we do have the Q&A in the chat open, and I'll be feeding these questions into Mike as we go along. And we do have a question already, Mike, and this is on the experimental technology or research. Who determines if this is experimental?
There is a list on the NRCS website of what's been approved and not approved. They kind of base it off the same thing as the equip. So you kind of have to go through, and it's reputable companies that have programs already put together. For example, Jane Logic, that's a part of the equip system of approved companies where they can use these type of things. So if you have a new startup company that says, hey, I can do this for you. I mean, this is supposed to last 10 years. What if this company is out of business in 3 years? So if they want something that's more trusted and a company that's going to be around for a while. And so they don't want to have that experimental technology part of it. Now you can put it in your field after you do your SWEEP program, but the reviewer is going to know what's good and what's experimental.
Right. And so that's right. And if they deem it to be experimental, you're not going to get it, but using something tried and true like Jane Logic, you're much more likely to get it.
No, exactly. So that's kind of, I wanted to get the restrictions out of the way. That way, it's really easy to get through, because then after that, you have to start the application process. And so there are a couple of things that you need with the application process. There's a budget template that's on the SWEEP program. You need to have that filled out. There's a greenhouse gas calculator tool that has to be filled out, as well as an irrigation water assessment tool. All of this stuff is somewhat detailed, but easy to fill out because we provide a lot of it in designs. And if you don't understand it, there's also technical assistance as well that can help you through that as well. You need a project design, which we at Agri Valley will, put together for you, as well as get you your parts list and all of that. That way you know what you're investing in. And then the other thing is you need to have some sort of energy bill for the greenhouse gas side of 1 full year of bills. That way you're able to prove your greenhouse gas savings with your pump. And then lastly, you need to have a pump efficiency test and your documents for your pump. That way they can see the difference between the old pump and your new pump as well.
Yeah, so Mike, as I look at this and I think a budget template, this is basically, this is what I need to buy and this is what it costs.
Yeah,
Agree?
so it's pretty simple. Um, I'll have that in the next slide of what it explains more. But it's 4 categories and different lists. You fill it in, and it's relatively an easy Excel spreadsheet that you just kind of have to fill in and give the quantity, and it gives you the cost.
Right. And so, and then, the project design, AgriValley is going to do that for me. A couple tools that I use right off a website that I'm just plugging in information. I have to, it's going to be, I'm going to dig around and get my 12 consecutive months of energy bills, but I can probably find those pretty easily in my email, and some pump documents. So if I think about what it's going to take me to do this and what the potential return is, and put that into an hourly, it's a no-brainer to try, right?
Exactly. No, exactly. I mean, and then that's, I think that's the big thing about it. You're going to be putting a little bit of work up front, but the long-term, return is great.
And then we've got somebody asking too, will the slides be sent out of this? We'll send everybody a copy of this recording, so they'll have both the audio and the slides as well. And then we have another question coming in, Mike, and that's about what about motors for pumps? Are efficiency tests required?
As far as pumps, for like boosters and all of that, you do have to put it in for the greenhouse gas savings. So say if you have a pump and then you have a booster, I'll show you in the greenhouse gas page, you'll have to have some sort of, every pump and every whatever it is has to have its own listing into it. So everything does need to be put into there. Whatever is on your field previously, you need to add into this report.
And then another question's come up, Mike, and that is why the energy bills? Why do I need to give them my energy bills?
It is a way to prove your last 12 months and how much you're spending. So say if you have a diesel pump, it's not just, you're filling up your tank, it's how many gallons it's using, it shows your horsepower. But not just including that, I mean, it's how much money are you spending to truck that diesel from wherever you're at. And then if you have an electric pump, you're going to be putting a better efficiency on it. You're going to increase the efficiency on your pump anywhere from 10 to 20% by doing the different methods of making that more efficient. And so they want to have your energy bill from that point of when you were using that pump to where it could potentially be. And that's part of that greenhouse gas calculator, because it all plays a big grand part of what that overall greenhouse gas savings would be.
Yeah, makes sense, right? This is they can justify the grant money too, right? We're going to reduce by X amount.
Yeah, and then the SWEEP program, they keep track of it, of how much they're actually saving as far as water and the amount of tons of greenhouse gas emissions they're saving as well through these projects. So it's one of those things that they take pride in, and that they want to make sure that everyone's doing it the right way. And it might be a little bit of work to dig. And I think if you don't have 12 months of energy bills, I believe there's other ways you can do that, but I don't remember what they are off the top of my head.
Yeah. Okay. All
So,
right. Great.
yeah, if you have the bills, dig them out. So now what you said earlier with the budget template, this is what it looks like. It's broken into 4 categories that you would see on your left: supplies, equipment, labor, which I got cut off, and then other. Very detailed. As you can see, going from left to right, you have other categories that go with your budget categories. You have your irrigation system improvements, your irrigation, just irrigation in general for water management. You've got pump and energy improvements. And then if you decide to do solar or renewable energy project, you can put that in there as well. And then there's other management practices. If this project does look like it's a bit much, either we can help. If you have a language barrier, there is technical assistance out here with the CDFA, and there's other programs within the Valley that can help you walk through it to help you fill out this and all the other forms as well.
Yeah, and I appreciate this budget template because it's probably helping me put in some costs I didn't even consider.
Exactly. And so what we do, so I'll take an example from the Agri Valley side. So we'll design your template or design your field out, and we'll price it out. But you know, you can get that, but you can't turn it in directly to the CDFA because it's going to change, you know, and whatnot. And there's more details to it, and it's different sections, and we may not break it down like what this budget template's going to be. So it's got to be really broken down to a T. That way they know where every dollar is being spent.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like this. I actually like it. It's helpful.
So, I mean, and this is one of the mandatory things that you have to fill out. And so it does help too, you know, to get some, to kind of look it over beforehand too. That way, whenever you see a question, you know, you can call in and be like, I don't get this. And people are able to, you know, help you out with it.
Yeah. Very nice.
The next tool on here is the irrigation assessment tool. This is a cool little thing. This is directly, it's an Excel file. You put everything in, you know, what type of soil you have, your crop, your county, all of those different things and what you're doing. And then it gives a before of water use of what you used beforehand. And then it has the same thing. You'll do that, and then you do the same thing for like an after. Same deal, you fill it out, and then you just change your estimated after water use of how much water it's going to take. And then that will calculate the percentage of water savings that's going to be estimated with the project. This is fairly simple. This will be something like after you get your design, and we can do the technical portion of that. That way you know what you're saving.
What a great tool. I would use this even if I wasn't applying for SWEEP money to see what I'm going to save. That's fantastic. And you find this on the
yeah, and this is all on the SWEEP website. All of this is available on there. And so this is all stuff that you will need to fill out to have into the SWEEP program. They have it all readily available. You know, you can keep it for, you know, if you do a SWEEP program, or if you're just doing it to, you know, switch crops or whatever you need to do. So it's good. This one's fairly easy. Then you get into like the greenhouse gas calculations. Little more intense. You have to fill out all of this information as best as possible, pre-project, post-project. I had a meeting with the CDFA a few months ago, and they were saying out of this whole thing, the two most important pieces of this document is right after pump and motor enhancements and replacement. The motor rated horsepower, know what your horsepower on that pump is and what your overall pumping efficiency will be pre and post. If you know what the first and the third line of that are, and there's a big difference in that, it will be a highly rated project. But those were the two biggest things for the greenhouse gas. But after you fill all of this out, and this would be for each pump that you do, you'll get a results. It'll tell you what your savings for your greenhouse gas benefits, and then what the over the life of everything is, what your greenhouse benefits will be per acre. And it kind of breaks all of that stuff down for you. That way it's already done once you fill it all out.
Yeah,
And,
Really interesting, valuable. Like I said, I would want to know this even if I wasn't getting money.
Oh, exactly. And so you do all of these different things. You turn in your PG&E bills or your fuel receipts or whatever. Then you apply. Now what? It's December 31st and you have everything in. Now what? It goes under review. There's a panel of people that go out there and it's based off of a 50-point system. This is pretty simple. There's 5 categories that make the 50 points. So the first is based off of 12 points, based off of merit and feasibility. The next 12 is based off of your water savings and calculations. Then another 12, that's that formula, that paperwork you filled out. Then you got the greenhouse gas calculator. You fill all that out, they'll review it. That's a maximum of 12 points. And then your budget tool template that you filled out, that's worth 8 points. So they'll go through all the details. And then the last 6 points is based off of additional considerations. And you probably ask, okay, what are these additional considerations? If this is the first time you're going to be awarded, you get 1 point. If you decide I'm going to put some money into the game, I'm going to throw in $800, $1,000, something like that, whatever I can afford. It doesn't have to be a lot, but if you decide to put in some money, you'll get a point for that. If you say, okay, I'm going to do some irrigation training, I'm going to learn what how my VFD works, or I'm going to learn how to do scheduling or how this soil moisture monitoring program works. You'll get if you say, yes, I'm going to commit to that, you'll get a point. You'll get another point if you are in a critically overdrafted groundwater basin. If you can prove with that water savings tool and you're in that groundwater basin, easy point. Another one, if you want to implement a cover crop or put in or do something like mulching on your field or composting, or you do crop rotation, if you do that on your field already or want to incorporate it, that's another point. And then the last point, if you figure out some way to capture stormwater, which doesn't happen all the time here in Fresno, or implement a way to use recycled water, you'll get a point. So that's another 6 points that you can get out of 50. And then obviously the points that out of that 50 points, the higher, if you get 40, 45 points, somewhere in between there, more than likely you're going to be getting the grant for that.
Yeah, these aren't that hard of additional considerations to do as well. And, Mike, when I think about places like Los Angeles, San Diego, paying homeowners $2 a square foot to remove their turf, right? $87,000 an acre. And I think about what they actually get in water savings, right? They don't leave it as dirt and not water it. They put some other plants in, so they still use water. And when I compare that to what people can get for sweeps money and what they can do for water savings and conservation here, it's so much more valuable. It's really amazing.
Yeah, and these additional considerations are really easy to, to commit to. It's not, like I said, you're putting some money into the game, you're putting some hours into training, but really, 4 of these points, could be just by living in the right area, being awarded for the first time, and figuring out a way to do some storm capture if you do a little reservoir or anything like that. There's different ways of doing it that can be worked out. So they don't make it hard to do the 50 points. It's just putting in the work and the effort up front to get this award. So after all this goes through and reward, and say you get the project. So you get the project, and then, you have 18 months after all this is said and done. CDFA will come in, they'll go, hey, you got the award. You still good? You still want to do this? You say yes. Then it goes through, if there's any little changes that need to get done, we'll go through and we'll go through the system one more time, make sure everything that we have put in is good, that's what you like. And then we go to work. This is some of the work that we've done, digging trenches, putting in filter stations, installing some of the soil monitoring stuff. I mean, you got a Jane logic there. Then once we get everything installed, it gets verified. And then once it's verified at the end, they'll pay out the rest, they'll pay you the money, which will then you pay your, the irrigation company and the pump company that helped you do the install, and you just go along farming. Nothing, you don't really get impacted with anything at all.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I didn't realize that people wait, right, to collect their money until you get a notice on your grant.
Yeah. And so as far as applying, the request for the grant application starts September, goes through October. So, if you're really serious about it, you need to, you want to go through all that, you can go on the SWEEP website, do your request for the grant application. The submissions start in October. The reviews will go, start with October to January. And then the projects will be started. Now, this is if you're in a hurry to get this done, I don't recommend. If you're in a hurry to do any planting through SWEEP, you got to have a lot of patience, because you're starting this in September, and the implementation for the project probably won't be until the summer of 2022. So you're looking from right now, almost about a year from now. So, probably 9 months to a year from now when the implementation will be going. So, you got to have patience with this program, because there's a lot of paperwork up front, and then it goes through its process in between, and then you're good to go. So if you're doing row crops or whatever in the summer months, you need to probably plan, to have a September, October, November installation. Or if you're doing row crops all year round, when's the best time for you to do something, or if you're planning to plant trees, and you want to do it for 2023, or the next winter type of thing. So that's really what your focus should be.
Yeah, good planning, good getting ahead of it. So we have a couple more questions that came in, and this one's talking about or asking about if I'm getting some other funding, like from NRCS, can I still apply for this?
If you are doing NRCS equip, it is basically the same thing as the SWEEP program. So if you applied for both SWEEP and NRCS equip, and you get the funding for equip, you will be disqualified for getting funded for SWEEP. But if you're doing anything else NRCS related or state federally grants, you can apply that grant towards the putting your skin in the game. You can apply that grant money to that portion of the application and use it for that, as long as you're using that money within the scope of the 18-month period of the installation process.
Yeah. Wow, interesting. And what a good strategy you just mentioned. So thank you. And we've got another question. Viewers asking, can I get funded if I'm using district water?
As long as I think you can. I have to look more into it. That's always been a touchy one. But I think the big thing about the district water, I think you have to follow the same requirements. You need to have a flow meter, you need to have the soil moisture monitoring, you need to be able to prove water savings, you need to be able to prove greenhouse gases. I think you can use surface water, but I cannot remember the scope of it exactly. I've read up on it a little bit, but you can do it.
Yeah. Okay, great. And person is asking that question. If you want some help with that, please reach out to Mike or Dave, and they'll help you.
And so I know, Dave, I know you've done a lot of these in the past as far as installations. So I mean, what was what's your experience with after everything that I've kind of went through? I mean, What do you think on that portion of doing all this and then the installation part?
Well, so the inspection is crucial at the end. But again, as long as you meet the scope of the project that you applied for, you're good to go. That's something they just added the last 2 years, I think. I will add also to that training includes the soil moisture monitoring system, and if you go fully automated. So all those things count towards points towards carbon emission reduction. And that training to learn how to operate the Jane Logic platform also counts as one of those points as well. I've done about 40 designs and assisted with applications. Again, it's the user, it's the grower. They put that responsibility on them because I think the state wants them to be involved with it. Like you said, this money needs to go to where it's needed. We don't want to just throw it around. We've had a pretty good approval rate. I think the first 2 years at Agri Valley, we were probably in the 90% approval rate for all the applicants we did. We got people money in places where the grower said, there's no way that I'm going to get free money. And they literally did. And they've got a fully automated monitoring and control system now. And the tools on there are fantastic as well, because they're literally a return on investment tool. So like, I think, Richard, you said it, if you don't even want to apply, you just want to see what making these enhancements to your current system would do, you can use that tool. The state provides that, and that's fantastic.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. Appreciate that. And it's really good to hear from somebody who's actually done it and been through it and been successful at it, that, it's not that hard. Am I right?
Right. A little bit of time. I think we do with the design work on Jane's end that we provide to our dealers like Agri Valley. We take all the questions out. You plot these in these blocks. On the budget worksheet, I'll add also that I think in there is where it defines equipment that's going to be in the field for 3 years or 2 years or 3 years or more, or whatever it is. And you break out stuff like that. And there's also areas for miscellaneous. It could be zip ties, literally.
Yeah.
Yep.
So great. And Mike, great job today in your presentation. I really appreciate that. Here's both of your contact information. If people reach out to you for help, they're under no obligation to buy anything or do anything, right?
Correct.
Yeah. And so I think this is really generous of you guys to put cell phone numbers, email addresses. I hope that the viewers will use this, use it to your advantage, because really, as Dave said, this money is available to you. It's free money that all of us benefit from, right? In both the savings of water and higher yields. So when you guys use it, we all benefit, and that doesn't happen too often. I don't get to say that every day, so that's really great. So, Mike, Dave, thank you guys so much for being on today and stepping us through and helping. To all the viewers out there, thanks for watching. Please use these guys. They're here for you. And they really want to help this process along. So thanks very much. We'll be back on Friday. We've got Dr. Gowdy from Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, who's going to be talking about basic hydraulics, and then also talking about the program at Cal Poly and the education they put together for their students. So should be really interesting and insightful. Again, thank you, everybody, and we'll catch you on Friday. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.